Kahala Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakhradash. Double honors to the elder apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. We're teaching this word in truth and sincerity. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad. And peace and salutations to the sincere Akim that's pushing this word in truth and sincerity to USA Shalom. Trump threatens to send brilliant and patriotic ICE agents to airports. President Donald Trump said Saturday he will order federal immigration officers to take a role in airport security starting Monday unless Democrats agree on a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security. In a series of social media posts, Trump said he was making plans to put officers from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement in airports if the congressional standoff continues. After the Senate failed to find a resolution for a rare weekend session, Trump appeared resolute, which means determined, in his plan. ICE is ready to go on Monday, he said. If the radical left Democrats don't immediately sign an agreement to let our country, in particular the airports, be free and safe again, I will move our brilliant and patriotic ICE agents to the airports where they will do security like no one has ever seen before, Trump wrote on Truth social media. He made the announcement as a partial shutdown continues to long lines to pass through screening at some of the nation's largest airports. That was early this morning, and a few hours later, Tom Homan, the White House border czar, this is what it said. Homan, ICE officers will not assist with airport security screening amid TSA staffing shortage. White House border czar Tom Homan said Sunday that immigration and customs agents, ICE, customs enforcement, ICE, officers will not be directly involved in security screening measures at airports. A day before agency officials will begin assisting Transportation Security Administration, TSA, employees. Wherever we can provide extra security, I don't see an ICE agent looking at an X-ray machine because we're not trained in that, Homan told host Dana Bash on CNN's State of the Union. But there are certain parts of security that TSA is doing that we can move them off those jobs and put them in the specialized jobs to help move those lines, he added. President Trump wrote on Truth Social earlier Sunday that ICE officers will help TSA agents starting Monday, and Homan is in charge of the operation. The longtime immigration officer said Sunday that he is working on the plan with acting ICE Director Todd Lyons and acting TSA Administrator Guyen McNeil. We'll have a plan by the end of today, he added. Homan also said that while the plan is a work in progress, it is his view that ICE should prioritize airports where the largest waits are. So basically, we're watching amongst other things that's going on in this nation, that's going on in Babylon. We're watching we're watching we're watching the downfall. We're watching this thing fall apart. We're watching a house divided, where your two parties, your Democrats and your Republicans, can't seem to come to some sort of resolution. Either we're approaching the 40th day or we in the 40th day of this partial shutdown of the government, particularly the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, where they don't want to fund, the Democrats don't want to fund them, and Democrats say they're not going to fund them, the DHS, unless they change or make some sort of change to their daily task. They want them to be to have better identification of the officers. They want them to have a better code of conduct and how they approach people and how they go about detaining quote unquote immigrants. And they also want them to have warrants for these arrests. So what we witnessed in the past few months is that ICE agents just like rogue Gestapo agents. They were just out there doing whatever they like, whoever they deemed being an immigrant or committed some sort of crime from another country or whatever. But we know that they're not going to change. You know what I'm saying? That's just the nature of Nero Trump and his Gestapo band of goons. Those in his administration, they're all warmongers, man. And they're not going to change how they move. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they was going to change how they was going to move, they would have started off, doing what they were supposed to be doing But as far as properly identifying themselves, not walking around with masks, not grabbing people out of their vehicles, they pretty much was antagonizing and pretty much instigating the violence, that we saw in these different states. And it all came crashing down in Minnesota. So we're watching a nation fall apart, from the inside. People don't trust each other. People don't trust their government. They don't trust their Babylonian government, and you having this thing where Esau hates Esau, where you have Edomites rising up against against themselves. So when you put these agents in the airport, they say they won't be doing screenings, so they'll be basically in the airports, targeting people, who they deem, not worthy, or deem suspect. This is Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. And can't keep saying it enough. You got these wicked individuals in government, all rapists, pedos, and murderers, thieves, and all sorts of other, things you would deem wicked. So These people are in rule, man, and they always, in this country, you know what I'm saying, in this country, in Babylon, they've been in rule for a very long time, So the only thing now is that you're starting to see the people more and more and more, and it's being publicized more and more, is because now it's affecting, the low level Edomite. But this place is basically, it's crumbling, and it's crumbling right before your eyes. Isaiah 19:4. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hands of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. So yeah, this cruel Lord has been in action, what, a little over a year, and it seems like he, he's been in office for about 3 or 4 years, So he's coming down with the, he's coming down with it, with that rod. It doesn't matter who it is, man. If you stand up against this clown, he's gonna come after you, And they want what they want, and they're gonna take what they want. And you see that in how they're conducting themselves, overseas, in other countries. That overtaking of Venezuela, what they're trying to do in Iran, which they're losing that. They're losing that war. And you basically seeing a cruel Lord in action. And you're watching these Egyptians here in Babylon. You watching them mourn, They don't, everybody's is uneasy. You got some that's still proud of this, nonsensical country, but many people are, are not at ease. They're seeing the end, and they're seeing their work, quote unquote, their hard work, all for nothing. That piece of the pie that these Edomites used to get, these low-level Edomites used to get, they're no longer receiving that, man. They basically in the same situation as Jake's, and they hating it. And this is why you starting to see that mourning intensify. This is Matthew's 12:26. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? So we watching this, we watching Satan move, man. We watching them divide. We watching them become divided amongst themselves. They always been divided amongst themselves. When you talk about these two different political parties, the Republicans and Democrats, in ancient times, in ancient Rome, it was the patricians and the plebeians. So they had the same type of, they had the same type of odds. They was at odds with each other, because you had the wealthy versus the non-wealthy, people that didn't have any money. But and we're starting to see the same things unfold, where they can't come up with solutions to their problems. One institution wanna do one thing, and another institution wants to do another, and it's all in wickedness, man. It's not in righteousness. It's all to fill their own belly, to fatten their own pockets. This is Proverbs 29:8. Salakia. This is Proverbs 29:8. Scornful men bring a city into a snare, but wise men turn away wrath. So we watching everybody trying to fill their own pockets, man, and they're being seen, and they're being, you know what I'm saying, their skirts is being pulled up. They, that veil is being uncovered because of the internet, and everybody has a camera phone, everybody has a voice, and they're gonna display their, you know what I'm saying, their anger. They're gonna you know what I'm saying, they're gonna display their distant, the disdain for Babylon and its rulership. Which is rightfully so, you know. These people dwell in wickedness. They dwell in satanic rituals, you know, and all this was uncovered, you know. All these people are pretty much on the front or the forefront of these, you know what I'm saying, this Epstein going ons, you know. They all on that list, you know. They all bow down to that pagan god Baal. They worship their children, you know what I'm saying, that not worship, but they sacrifice their children. They sacrifice many children, other people's children, to Molech. And they dwell in witchcraft and sorcery, and it's all being uncovered. Whereas, you know, back in the days, you would say it was, these people are, you know, a conspiracy theorist. You know, none of this is true. But now it's all being brought to the forefront, and it's right before your eyes. Now these people can't believe all the atrocities that these people have done. But when it was being told to you, whether you was in the truth or not, you looked at these people, you looked at us as weirdos and things of that nature. But now it's all starting to come to the forefront. Now you can't believe your eyes. You can't believe what you're seeing. And you're watching the people pretty much melt down. This is Mark 3. I'm going to read verses 24 through 26. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. If a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but have an end. So we're watching the downfall of Babylon, and rightfully so. Good riddance. You know, we need this righteous kingdom of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, you know, to take over. We need him to come and destroy this place, destroy our defiled land that's been defiled by, you know what I'm saying, those imposters. And we just waiting for him to come back, deliver his elect and his remnant, so we can take back what's rightfully ours. So with that being said, stay prayed up. Keep praying for the downfall of Babylon. Continue to grow in faith. Continue to build your spirit. With that, I'm going to say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Radash, Abad Babal.